Woo!
Charlie Parker, the famous Charlie Parker. He's on the rampage this weather. Of course, this is the time of the year now when he does be disturbed. But when you live with them for so long, you know they're around, you know. But there's actually two ghosts, but he's the most famous one and the longest one. At least the other ghost was alive when I come to work here. She was a dresser backstage, Annie. But she's still in the house because when the girls would go on stage, she'd go up to the box to sit there and watch and see that all the costumes were perfect on stage, you know. But there's times now, different shows, different times of the year, you can nearly feel that she's there. In the middle box over there. It used to be box 1, but when the roof collapsed in '73 on the stage, it brought one of the boxes down. And of course, it took 3.5 years to open. So when it was rebuilt, they could never find any signs of a ghost in box 1. But what happened was, the box, it's box 1, 2, and 3 now, so it's the middle one. They had to move it so much that it took where the ghost used to be away from the box. So she's in the next box. But they got it there. So they're still around.
And tell us a bit about Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker, well, Charlie, of course, some people have seen him. But I've never seen him, only felt his presence. I used to be the usherette on the door down this side. And in the middle of August, the curtain would, as if somebody was breathing on you, you know. No breeze, no nothing, just the curtain. So it's just like if you were walking through the curtain. Lights going on and off, float money getting thrown on the floor, and he loves breaking glasses. Loves it. But all these strange things, you know. And he dresses the people that did see him. My son was actually one of them. He's the general manager. He stand at where the pit is down there, where the band is, and he looked up. And you could see, you know, one of these men that walk in front of a funeral with the tall hat, the long hair and the gloves and all that. And he'd be walking up and down the back of the gallery. So he has been seen. But thank God I've never seen him. But the only thing now is that he solved, one problem was solved, the crying baby. See, another lady and myself here, she died since Annie, she was in the other bar. And we always stopped in between shows for the have our tea. And then we'd have a little nappy on the thing, waiting for the next show. But always at the matinees, we'd hear this baby crying. We could never make out where the crying was coming from. It felt like it was coming from there. But we went out to the lane, we'd done everything, no child crying. So this media come, Ian something was his name. He's actually over there with the boss's daughter in one of the photographs. And I brought him all around the house. We spent 3 hours going round, and he couldn't find the answer to the crying baby at all. That was bugging him too, you know. So we'd only one place left, and that was the gents' toilet. So he says, right, this is our last show. We only walked into the toilet. He says, you needn't go any further, Maureen. The answer to your crying baby is here. I said, here? He said, yes. And he says, is there any talk about it? I said, no. Nobody hears the baby, only Annie and myself. So from the day he come here and answered that, We've never heard the baby cry.
You were saying as well that two people who really were interested in Charlie Parker were Laurel and Hardy.
Oh, yes, yes. They were ever so uptight about it, you know. Like the big fella, he enjoyed it, you know, he loved listening about them. And he'd say, "Now you're kidding me, Maureen." I said, "No. So all this is how you don't feel it sitting on your shoulder." But the two wives that sit here, they wouldn't listen about stories at all about ghosts.
Were they like Laurel and Hardy actually?
Oh, they were just Laurel and Hardy. Every bit the same as if you were looking at them on a film. They were lovely now. And of course the two wives were out of this world. They were two beautiful ladies. Always wore the big furry hats and the real part, you know. And the little fella, the skinny fella as I used to call him, his wife was beautiful. I think she was French. But they loved the story about the ghost. And they'd say, "Well, we didn't see anything moving on, or anything like in the dressing room, you know, so I don't talk too soon. You're only here a few nights." So.
And there's been lots of celebrities who've passed through here.
Oh, indeed there is, a lot. A lot, like Tyrone Power. He was here for The Devil's Disciple. He was beautiful. Lovely. Gladys Cooper. John Gregston, you name them, they're all there. Broderick Crawford.
Have you any favourites?
Well, of course, yes. Pat, whatever you call him, used to do the radio business out on the street. He'd done the Late Late Show for Gay. What was his name? Pat? Before?
Pat Kenny? No.
Pat Kenny, yeah. I'm coming in and he says to me, "Well, Maureen, what do you think of Tyrone Power?" "Oh," says I, "Pat, he's only gorgeous. You don't need a mirror. You can powder your nose in his eyes." He thought that was hilarious. But he was a lovely man. Terrible to think at 42 he should die. Sure, you could go on and on, you'd never come to the end of them. And of course, poor old Neil Neeson, he's great.
You're a big fan of Bono as well.
Oh, well, of course, Bono's number one. Number one in the hits. Ah, yeah, he's a nice guy.
Would he be ahead of Kris Kristofferson?
Nobody would take Kris Kristofferson's place, no. Christopher is lovely, he's a gentleman.
And when was the first time you met him?
Well, that's the photograph there, that's about 32 years ago. Went backstage for an autograph, so I got more than an autograph. I got a smooch instead, whatever we called it them days. And of course, Rebecca Storm is another great one. Blood Brothers. Have you seen that one at all? Oh, she was out of this world. There's nobody can do it like her. Elaine Page thinks she could, but she couldn't. Rebecca's the girl.
And why do you think Kris Kristofferson, he dedicated one of his last albums to you?
Yeah, I don't know why he done that now. I wonder why myself. Closer to the bone. He's just that type of person, you know. And he's a lovely family. In fact, they're over there, the boys and the wife. So, yes. We always look forward to him coming. Of course, now they're all good in their own way. Good at what they do. We only have the best.